Happy Halloween.
In this presentation, I'm going to discuss the decline of trick-or-treaters coming to your door that I've noticed in the past few years. I'll give a brief overview, a description of where we get our holiday from, how it came about, and unfortunately where it's going. So without any further questions, proceed further. The rise of trick-or-treating. Trick-or-treating came to the United States with the Irish during the Great Famine of 1840. The Irish brought over a lot of traditions that we still carry over today, one of which most recognizable is Halloween. They didn't start off that way though. It can be traced back, their roots, all the way back to the Celtic days where they met Jack O'Lantern. Jack tricked the devil not once, but twice. What happened was, he didn't have enough money when he went to the tavern. The devil confronted him and gave an option. He said, I'll give you the money, but then your soul is mine. So he turned himself into a coin and gave it himself to Jack. But Jack was smarter than the devil, and he put that coin in his pocket, reaching his other pocket to pull out another coin to pay for his beer. Only releasing the devil when he agreed not to take his soul and have any vengeance. The devil got his wish, so he was released and Jack went on his way. 10 years later, Jack met the devil once more. He was about to die, and he came over. The devil said, your soul is mine. He said, on your way down, can you at least pick me up and girl? Can you pick an apple for me? The devil said, why not? The devil climbed up into the tree, which Jack ran over and inscribed a cross on the base of the tree. The devil couldn't get down. So Jack said, I'll remove the cross if you don't take my soul. So the devil agreed to it once more. Upon Jack's death at an old age and a very drunk man, he was not allowed to go into heaven. So he went to hell, where they did not admit him. The devil said, for your trickery, you will walk the earth forever. And in that turn, he spit a coal into a turnip that Jack was eating. And that's where we get our jack-o'-lanterns from. It took a while, it took nearly about 100 years, but by the 1950s, Halloween as we know it was established, where kids would dress up as various costumes or various figures and go knock door to door and receive candy in exchange for not tricking. Over the past decade or so, or past 40, 50 years, Halloween has since declined rapidly. Enter Ronald Clark O'Brien, nicknamed the man who killed Halloween, or the Candyman. In 1974, Ronald Clark O'Brien killed his son with cyanide-laced pixie sticks. At the time, the story goes like this. He reported to the police. They went knocking door to door to get candy. His friends, his son's friends, and him were trick-or-treating with him. On an empty house, they went and walked away. The father went back to the home and said he received 5 pixie sticks, of which he gave to the 5 children. Jack's son took the pixie stick late at night and died that night. It had enough cyanide to kill 3 men. The report went on saying that Ronald took his kids out for trick-or-treating, and they couldn't remember what house it was. In turn, creating an entire frenzy that your children's candy was at risk. There was no way about it. Everyone started throwing away their candy and created this hysteria that we still experience today. In 1984, Ronald Clark O'Brien was executed, and the demonstrators outside the prison chanted in mass, trick or treat. It took 10 years to get him to be killed. However, he claimed his innocence the entire way. The fall of trick-or-treating. A lot of contributing factors go into this. So, during the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, 1950s and 60s, the Vietnam War kicked off. Some analysts believe that the displacement of anxiety due to the Vietnam War and the demonstration acts against the war because of their misleading put into the fear of Halloween. Another one was the Tylenol murders in Chicago of 1982. There were 7 people that died in Chicago when Tylenol was laced with cyanide, hence just like in 1942. The switch from candy to toys to candy. someone came up with this great idea where they would give trinkets and small little toys in exchange of candy. It failed miserably, but the change pushed more people further and further away. The introduction of the genre of the horror film. Alfred Hitchcock was only the pioneer. Horror films exploded in the 1970s and 80s with Jason, Michael Myers, etc. And finally, in our generations, the more recent one, a less naive audience. As you can see by the graph demonstrated below, everything in every one of these categories is on the decline, from hand out to candy, to carving pumpkins, to taking children out for trick-or-treating, and visiting haunted houses. Why, you may ask this? That's your opinion. However, figures show that, as before, a less naive crowd, we want more out of Halloween as adults rather than children. Trick-or-treating, as you can see in males 6 to 10, go ahead, they went out trick-or-treating, got candy. As they entered adolescence, they became more concerned about parties and alcohol versus trick-or-treating and what they consider childish things. You go down into young adults, only very few take their kids out trick-or-treating, and they trade that in for going out themselves and enjoying the adult nightlife. We'll go into that a little bit later. Halloween today. Costume shops have reported a rapid growth and expansion of adult Halloween costumes. Clubs, bars, hotels, museums, and other institutions are beginning to sponsor large parties. Halloween is reported to be the second biggest U.S. adult party after New Year's. The urban myths surrounding trick-or-treating come in the fact is this. You can think of the Candyman or the man who killed Halloween for this. Razor blades, needles, poison, broken glass, etc. All of these are false. The only reported instance of poisoning or any one of these categories is false. There's only one case that exists, and that happened in 1942 when a man killed his son for a life insurance policy. There have been creative ways of altering the door-to-door knocking, the traditional trick-or-treating, and in my opinion, they failed miserably. There is the non-exciting trunk-or-treat, which is almost a kidnapper's wet dream. There's a church haunted house or sponsored festival to keep the kids in a contained area to give them safe candy, apples, etc. The block party, in which your neighbors that you trust, or you think you can trust, all hang around the same area and have your kids there, give them safe candy. Most hospitals, about 10 years ago, offered free x-rays for people with their kids. They bring home candy, they give the x-rays to ensure that the kid is not receiving anything laced, hallucinogenic, an injection, anything else like this. And the last one is candy dump at home. Some adults will take their children out, go trick-or-treating, and all the candy they receive that night they'll throw away and exchange it with candy bought recently and just switch it out. So what do I get from this? Sadly, the media has created a frenzy in which it has blacklisted trick-or-treating, and that has contributed to the decline of what you and I used to know and will never have again. As adults get more adventurous and kids become more technically savvy, the days of trick-or-treating are sadly fading away. So what can you do? There's many things you can do. One, dress up and hand out candy. It's that simple. Thank you for your time.